Ready to launch your TC business, but feeling a little bit overwhelmed? I got you covered. We're going to be reviewing a checklist that is going to take you from zero all the way to launching your TC business successfully. We are going to review together this checklist. You are going to be able to download a free copy. Make sure that you check in the description below so you can follow along and fill it out from your computer. You don't need to print it out. And first things first, you gotta give it a name. You gotta come up with your business name. And obviously there is something very personal and it gotta reflect your personality and the vibe that you want to give to your business. And make sure that whatever you go for, you have something that is memorable. And a good rule of thumb is that when you tell the name of your business to prospect, they kind of understand what the business is about. And now that you have a name for your business, the next step is to decide on the business structure. And for that, I gotta tell you that I am not a CPA, I'm not an attorney, and I'm not a tax expert, but I do have a business. And I can talk from my experience. Normally, TCs either start as sole proprietors, and then if they decide to, they form an LLC. Personally, what I prefer was to create my LLC from the very beginning and take care of all these tasks and steps before I got busy. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to follow what I did. That is just my experience and what I normally recommend. But either way, you can start launching with no issues, either as a sole proprietor or an LLC. The next step is for you to open a business bank account. If you are operating as a sole proprietor, you are not required to have a business bank account. My recommendation is that you absolutely have a dedicated bank account for your business, again, even if you are a sole proprietor. Reason being is because you want to keep all the expenses separated from your personal account. That is going to only help you when it comes to take care of your books and especially take care of your taxes. And you will need to get for free an EIN number on the IRS website. I have included the link in the form, so again, make sure that you download it for free so you can have it handy. Now, again, if you are a sole proprietor, you don't need to get an EIN number. However, again, my recommendation is that you do. Why? Well, first of all, it's free. It's not going to take a long time for you to go through the process, I promise. And third, the alternative is for you to use your Social Security to fill out forms, like W-9s, for example, which is never a good idea, in my opinion. And the next step, since we are talking about all this fun stuff like creating the LLC and opening the bank account, naturally the next thing is for you to get an accounting or bookkeeping system in place. And you can take care of these type of things utilizing a spreadsheet and a Word document to create the invoices. Now, personally, I prefer things like QuickBooks or FreshBooks in order to get these things done. However, in full disclosure, QuickBooks is not free. I pay for a subscription. But I did some research and I hear wonderful things about Wave App. A lot of TCs use Wave App not just for the accounting part, like classifying transactions, but also for invoicing. This is super important because you would like to have something that facilitates the process for you and make it easy to send invoices. That way you don't get behind. And after we have all these super important things in place, I will encourage you to create a dedicated email address for your business. Yes, it sounds very simple, but you might be surprised. Some people just use their personal email to conduct business, and that is never, ever a good idea. Now, you have a couple of options. If you are ready to get your domain right away, you can get a branded email address. Now, if you're not ready yet to buy your domain, you can just go with a free Gmail account and try to get that email address that reflect the business name as close as possible. And once that you are ready to buy your domain and have like a branded email address, you can switch from one account to the other. And if you're following along with me on the checklist, you know that the next step is to decide on your TC services. And there are many options available for you. You could potentially offer transaction coordination from open to close. You could offer listing coordination. You could offer marketing. The possibilities are endless. You just need to make sure that you are comfortable with whatever services you are going to be offering, that you are knowledgeable enough. And in some cases, you might decide to offer a variety of things. And in some other cases, you might decide to start slowly and then adding more services as you grow. There is no right or wrong. Remember, this is your business. You set the rules up. And now that you have a list of services that you are going to offer to your clients, you gotta put a price tag on them, okay? And in order to do that, you will have to do a little bit of a market research. When we said market research, it's just for you to understand who is your competition, what are the prices that are being handled in the marketplace. Make sure that your prices are competitive and that they reflect the value as well that you're offering to your clients. And now that you define your services and you know how much you're going to charge, you will have to start developing checklists and templates to help you with these type of tasks that are repetitive in nature, and that is going to not just save you time but also prevent you from making mistakes and being able to always offer the same level of service to every single client. And talking about saving time, you need a task management system. And please notice that I said system. I'm not sending you to buy any type of subscription or piece of software, although my personal opinion is that they are wonderful and make my life easier. However, a system can be something as simple as a spreadsheet that you can utilize to keep yourself organized with the different contracts, different files that you are managing, and you can save the templates in your email. The important thing is that you have a system in place that is going to support your effort. Now, if you decide to actually go with one of these subscriptions or softwares, my next recommendation is for you to take advantage of the demos, the free trials, because you need to make sure before you commit to this monthly payment that that software or system actually is working for you and supporting you in your operations. And of course, you will need to set up some type of cloud storage space because you're going to be keeping all these documents safe, and at the end of the transaction you're going to be sharing that pile of documents with your agent, and quite honestly I keep them like forever. It's not uncommon that an agent or an investor call me long time after we close a transaction for many different reasons, and they request a copy of the file or a copy of a specific document. So make sure that you get organization from the very beginning, and you have free options. Like for example, even with a free Google account, you have a Google Drive that you can use, as the storage space for your files. Let's move on to the next task on the checklist, which by the way, you can download for free utilizing the link that I included in the description. You will have to set up and scheduling tool to help you with your discovery calls. You probably see a pattern here. I don't want people to spend crazy amounts of money if they don't need to. So you can use tools that are free, like Calendly. You can link your free Gmail account, and you can use the free version of Zoom in order to also link it and use it to schedule and conduct your discovery calls. And once that you went through the discovery call and hopefully you convert that lead into a client, then a couple of things are going to happen. First, you will need to have a way to onboard that new agent. And again, the idea here is to be super efficient, to have systems in place, and to save you time and headaches. So my recommendation is for you to create an intake form. Intake forms can be created utilizing tools like Google Forms or JotForm, which, by the way, I love it. It is also free, and they offer an amazing amount of options for you to create interactive intake forms. So take a look and utilize the conditions that they offer in JotForms. I think that those are brilliant. And now that you onboard that client, hopefully they're going to start sending you files. That's the goal. So you gotta be ready to gather all the information related to that particular file so you can start processing that right away. So this is why you're going to, again, create an intake form. You're going to ask everything that is important for you to know in order to start that file. But we don't need to forget about the TC agreement. It's great to have all the systems in place. However, I recommend not to operate if you don't have a TC agreement signed by your clients. This agreement is not just going to obviously legally protect you, but also it's going to provide peace of mind to your client. They're going to know that you take your business in a very serious way, and they will be happy to do business with you. And talking about protection, don't forget your errors and omissions insurance is absolutely essential. And now that we have all these things in place, I encourage you to take care of marketing. And for some of you, might be the fun part. You get to select your fonts, your colors, create your logo. If you already buy your domain, you can create your website. So I'm sure it's pretty exciting for the creative minds out there. And once that you have that, it is time to start officially marketing your services. And the reality is that it's going to be looking very different for every single one of you. Why? Because you have many different ways to market your services. You might decide to go to networking events. You might decide to do some cold calling to real estate agents. Whatever you do, my recommendation is that you stick long enough in order to be able to track it and get results. So again, download the free checklist. Make sure you utilize the spaces to brainstorm, to put there all your information, and without even noticing, you're going to go from zero to launching your TC business. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you on the next one.